hate to say this, but I'm very unhappy with the way things have turned out up to this point. The plan was to, I've already got this stain like it is. This is dark walnut stain. And what I wanted to do was take some milk paint, some old, no, take that back, take some antique white milk paint and paint this table base and distress it to give it some character. But I've been to, oh good grief, 5 different places that would normally have milk paint and they didn't have it. So that's my big disappointment there. So that just takes that whole plan and just throws it right out the window. But it just kind of makes me want to just give up on this. So I think what I'm going to do, just for the heck of it, is I'm just going to take some of this glue here and just cover this whole thing up with it, and then I'll figure out what to do with it later. I don't know. It is what it is.
What would you do that for?
Check it out. Come look a little closer. Crackling. Isn't that awesome? Different brush strokes create different crackling effects. So you guys are probably like, how did you do that? Well, I'm not telling. It's a secret. No, I'm just kidding. Some of you probably knew what I was doing, but for those of you who don't or don't know, it's this guy right here. Hide glue or brown glue. This is the main thing that made this happen. Got the idea on YouTube. As a matter of fact, it was, I believe it was the Woodworkers Guild of America. Had a little demonstration on how to do crackling with hot glue. I experimented with it and was very pleased with the results. So that's what we did with this. Originally I did want to do milk paint, and like I said, it was not easily found. So I guess I said that right, but anyway, I just couldn't find it. So I had to improvise, and talking it over with my wife, we decided to go this direction, and it really turned out good. I really feel like maybe it's going to push the final product or the final table over the top. So that's what I'm counting on anyway. Sorry about the bad joke. I don't know if it's going to get out in time, but let's just say April Fools. Gotcha. So. Okay, let's give it a few minutes here while I'm setting up, and I want to explain a few things about this whole process. The hide glue, you're not going to be able to find that at Home Depot or Lowe's or any place like that. I was able to find it at Ace Hardware. However, I was only able to find it with, it was really a small bottle from Ace Hardware. But, I did go to Rockler's, which is kind of a woodworker store around here in our local area. They had it in a much bigger bottle, like I showed it to you. That is one place you can get it at. The other place where you could possibly get it at is actually online. I was able to find that Amazon.com has that product online that you can buy and order and have delivered to your home. Okay, now on to the process. The big thing is you apply the high glue to whatever it is you want to crackle, okay? Now the hard part with that is you really have to be patient with it. I mean, really patient with it. You basically you apply the high glue to whatever project you're working on, and you have to let it sit at least 24 hours. It has to be fully cured in order to be successful. The other thing that I need to bring up with this process is you can apply the glue at full strength straight out of the bottle, or you can dilute it. It is water soluble. Okay. Now, for this particular project, I diluted it down to 75%. You can dilute it down to 50%. That's about as far as you can go from what I understand. And the reason why that information would be useful to you is the more you dilute it, the more intense the crackling would be, meaning that, if you went full strength, your crackles are going to be bigger. All right. If you went, 50% or so, you'll have smaller, more refined crackling. That's just what it looks like for me from my personal experience with experimenting with it. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Now that the glue has cured at least 24 hours or so, it's time to go ahead and start putting the top coat on it. Now, let me back up a little bit. The stain that you see is actually the base coat. You have to have a base coat for it to work and look really good. And you can use the base coat. You can have any kind of base coat, what I'm going to say. It could be paint. It could be stain. It could be even, you could really probably go with just bare wood if you wanted to. But there's that part. But now we're going to apply the paint. And I've had more success using water-based paint, acrylic. For this particular project, I am actually using latex paint. So you have your paint. Now you're ready to put the paint on. The main thing that I need to point out about when you paint on top of the hide glue is you do not want to keep brushing over and over and over again in the same spot. If you do, you will mess up the crackle. It will fail. So with that being said, you really need to be working pretty quickly with this. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. And the other thing too is you can't go wrong with changing the directions of your brush strokes. Which is what I've done with this, You can go one direction or you can change it up. We decided to change up the direction to make it look more distressed, I guess, But the other thing too is, if you apply more paint in certain areas, you'll get the bigger crackles like you see here. And say like if you just apply less paint or almost dry brush, you'll get more smaller, refined crackling effects. Folks, we are done with the table. It is completely assembled and we got our top coat on it. I went ahead and just left out what I've done as far as the finishing techniques because really that's kind of a subject all on its own. Maybe we'll do something like that later on down the road. But really what I need to do next is start building the chairs. I think we're going to go with a couple of chairs and maybe a bench, maybe 2 benches and 2 chairs, or 1 bench and 4 chairs. I don't know yet. But we still have really one more thing that we need to take care of before we go to that point. And maybe what I have here in front of me on the table here will give you a little bit of a hint what that is. The main thing is that we need some good lighting in here.
it.